All right, boys, we're back. Week 1, Season 4. Let's get it. Joe and I kicked this bad boy off. Yeah, so prepping for Joe's team's kind of tough. I didn't really know exactly how I wanted to go with it, because he's just so, like, offensively dominant with his build. So I needed to figure out how to play offense with offense, because I didn't really feel like I had a solid defensive check to some of the stuff that can set up on his end, like especially like quick wobble. So I just kind of had to like out offense in the team builder. I went with Terra Water Hatterene. Felt like that would be a really good Iron Treads answer. What else did I do? I had, I think I had Spikes on Sandy Shocks, Stealth Rock Orthworm, or vice versa, one or the other. Inteleon was like Scope Lens with Sniper, just try to get some big crits, chunk some of the stuff that might, I don't know, get in the way of like Iron Jugulus maybe. And yeah, really just needed to keep hazards off of my side, that way I could make switches pretty freely into his offensive stuff. So like Hatterene's life was pretty important, and yeah, let's just hop into it. Unfortunately, custom avatars on the replays don't show up, which is kind of stupid, but yeah, first turn, I mean, I had to make a risky play right off rip bat. I wanted to get Hatterene's like Terra off quickly, that way I could switch into like steel type moves, but he leads Electrode and it was kind of just a 50-50. Overall, looking at the build here, Sandy Shocks wasn't super important. It would be really nice for Quaquaval, but I figured I would be able to answer it maybe through Slowking or Terra Hatterene, that I could risk eating like a grass move. It felt like he was just kind of leading it for momentum anyway, so it probably safer than what I was anticipating, but you know, got the read there. Didn't get the read there going for Earth Power on the switch, and I just stayed in. I figured an Earth Power was coming out, and that's why I didn't go into Slowking in case it was like specs. I should have just went Slowking and kept my health on this, and we'll see in the end game. I'm running Pasho Berry on Sandy Shocks, and from full, it just completely bodied Quaquaval, but I no longer have that health. So he makes a double here to Electrode. That's fine with that taunt, because I am Assault Vest Slowking. I was only clicking attacking moves anyway, or switching out. Oh yeah, I want to say I was making these plays assuming he was choice locked Electrode, based off of like the Volt Switch off rip, and then him switching out immediately while being faster than Sandy Shocks. Like if he had Chloroblast and wasn't choice locked, he probably could have just went into it. So I felt pretty safe that that was choiced, probably specs because of how fast it was. But yeah, I go into Orthworm on the Iron Treads. Yeah, the double, right? So we both switch, and I didn't want him to get rocks up, so I just went hard into Hatterene. I knew it was pretty unlikely he would go for an Iron Head, so it felt like a safe switch. And then, yeah, he goes back into Enamorous. That special attack drop's pretty annoying, actually. Obviously only running special moves. Alright, Quaquaval comes in. I go Hatterene here on a potential like close combat. See, he's Aqua Step. I don't remember calcing it. I should have calced it to see what sort of set that was, like if it was Adamant or Jolly, or even invested at all, and he was really just banking on like a Moxie boost or a setup to get the offense. But I can get my Terra off there. Volt Switch obviously isn't doing anything to me. Get the special attack drop here on the Dragalge, and since I'm Terra Water, I probably could have just stayed in anyway, but I've seen Terra Electric Thunderbolts come off from Dragalge before. Alright, DD up. Pretty easy eat on the crunch there, but since I ate my Citrus Berry, I'm not going to be able to Shed Tail most likely with it, and I couldn't just let that stay in. I thought about going for the Shed Tail. Would have been kind of cool, but nothing on my team's really like setting up this week. I just had it just in case I had a really good opportunity. So what I should have done is gone for the Heavy Slam, because that obviously kills, but I thought maybe he would have read that and gone into Iron Treads. So unfortunately, Namorous keeps coming in, keeps doing annoying stuff to me, and I can't get rid of it. Call the switch, get the Psychic correct. Eat the Draco because I'm max Spadef AV. Alright, so I get rid of Dragalge. I know I'm going to die to a Crunch, so I just go for a sack on Inteleon. And it actually doesn't even kill, so I can get a nice little snipe shot off. Electrode comes in. I just go ahead and sack. It's really hard to switch into electric and grass. Really good coverage. But he goes for grass, and I figure, okay, well, I can go into Iron Jugulus on anything he'll switch out. I should have been more aggressive with that play. It's super unlikely he would have went into Quaquaval. Yeah, I could have just went for something that would have hit Iron Treads neutrally. Instead of the Air Slash. Like, a Flamethrower is fine. It's super risky for him to go into Quaquaval there. Flamethrower would have been really, really nice in that instance. But I get the Earth Eater here on the Earthworm, and we will see that that is important health to have, because I'm at 70% right now. And he's leftovers. I'm like, alright, this is trouble. Now I see the Focus Energy. I'm like, this is really bad. Gets 1 crit Aqua Step. It's actually a 1 in 8 after a Focus Energy to get a crit, opposed to a 1 in 24 base odds. Gets a second one, so he's getting 2 1 in 8s in a row. Like, alright. The odds he goes for CC and gets a crit here are super low, getting a third 1 in 8 in a row. Goes for an Aqua Step and gets the crit. So if he went for CC and got that crit, I'm dead and I get swept. And it's a 4-0 win on Joe's end, because there's nothing I can do to stop him at +2 speed. Yeah, there's basically nothing I could do. However, he forgot about the Terra. And this is why we did the mini-season, so everybody was kind of comfortable with it going into this year. We're knocking the rust off. This is week 1. I'm not going to be too harsh on that. But yeah, going for like the CC and getting the crit would have killed me. He needed the crit still to kill. I think I had a very favorable roll on my end to live at whatever percent I was at before that. So he still needed the crit most likely. But you know, I'm able to get the kill there, eliminate the threat, and I'm just up in sacks at this point. So knock out the treads with Earth Power. Okay, Sandy Shocks, you did your job. I could have been a little more aggressive there. In hindsight, like, yeah, it was probably super free just going Jugulus. Because, like, what? If he locks into an electric type move, I just go back into Sandy Shocks and claim a kill. And then he has to use a grass type move to try to kill Earthworm. I'm still fine because of the percentage it's at. It's going to live a Specs T-Bolt, but I definitely could have gotten aggressive and just gone into Jugulus there. It was super unlikely he would have collected an electric move. But yeah, I'm just up in sacks, so drop Hatterene here. And Earthworm comes out at 70%. It lives thanks to that Earth Eater. I lived on 16. Earth Eater gave me 25 extra health, so getting that Earth Eater up was actually super huge. But like, he gets the Aftermath kill. A little stat padding there. But yeah, GG Joe, that was a crazy game. Quavel nearly ran away with it. Alright, our second early game of the week. Ty and I over at the regional this weekend, so had to get these in early so we could kind of get an idea of what we were running. Yeah, we just see Scissor go +6 here. But he doesn't have anything to hit Bronzong better than Bullet Punch. So, yeah, this is just kind of a losing battle for the Scissor. And you kind of want it for an Amorous still. Okay, I don't know if that was a roll. I mean, maybe it was, and that's why we went for 2 BPs, because you thought U-turn would kill afterwards. I probably would have just gotten up and then U-turned out after that first Earthquake, just to preserve some health on it, because it's pretty low now. And now, like, I don't know, with Reflect Up, Chanpal probably lives a Bullet Punch and then can kill you at that range, especially after rocks. But yeah, it kind of sucks not getting the kill there on Bronzong. And it's just gonna like slowly keep creeping up on leftovers. Good pivot with the U-turn, and then we see Dugtrio aggressively coming in and trapping the Moth. That was pretty sick. I mean, I don't know a better time that you could have used it, really. I mean, you're slower than Meowscarada and Bundle. Bullet Punch, Scissor, like, you're not killing at 45% probably anyway. So yeah, pretty decent. I don't know if keeping Dugtrio around, though, was, like, super necessary. And taking that chip on Hawlucha kind of sucks for Bullet Punch. And even with a Spadef raise from Psychic Terrain, you know, you're weak to Iron Bundle and everything. So I don't know if that would have been the switch in. Plus, anyway, you just went for the Octobit and then hard switched out onto a Wild Charge. So yeah, MJC's definitely behind at this point. But Bronzong, super safe. It was a sack, and then actually ended up working out. Getting Psychic Terrain up for Hawlucha to try to break a little bit. But yeah, MJC doesn't want to like necessarily go into Hawlucha because it's pretty free for Duxie to stay in T-Wave at that point. So going Magnezone is fine. And we see the AV get knocked off here, and then this is a analytic boosted Volt Switch. It's doing 76. Yep, claim the kill with Hawlucha. And Uxie's so fat. Only took 30%. If you're running SD, you already have the Spadef boost. Maybe you just go for that, assuming he attacks you. And then you try to kill afterwards. But it looks like Uxie doesn't even have Psychic coverage or, you know, predicting a different switch to like Bronzong maybe. But yeah, -1. It only does 32% to Tauros. Chien-Pao comes in and basically just claims something. That's kind of the problem with tearing water Tauros, is like that's just such a good answer to Chien-Pao. And then you just have to out-offense it at that point. You don't really have a defensive answer to it after you Terra. Sack the Dougie. Yeah, we saw it actually is banded Chien-Pao, but we see it doesn't have boots. So once again, we get a big analytic hit off here from Magnezone. Easily able to kill at 23%. Bundle comes in. Hits the Hydro. It needed that. I want to say it was choice locked. I can't remember. And it hits 3 straight Hydro Pumps. Chien-Pao comes in. It's in range of Bullet Punch anyway. This game should be over regardless of the miss. Get the Sacred... 76. I wonder if Sucker Punch killed at that range. That's interesting, because it obviously kills Scissor at this range. Oh. Actually, hold on. Let's just get the calc up real quick. Chien-Pao choice banded into a bundle. This does not have Sucker. Yeah, Sucker Punch killed. I mean, maybe you don't want to play the mind games and getting stuck with last mon choice banded Sucker Punch, but like, I don't know, maybe Ty didn't read that you were, maybe he thought you were sashed instead of banded, but I guess off the calc, seeing that Sucker Punch killed bundle, probably would have had to assume you were banded. Yeah, because even if you're adamant, it's only doing 56 to 66. Okay. Yeah, I get that. I mean, it was probably a lost cause anyway, but yeah, Ty misclicks. Tough. Boys, pay attention to what you're clicking on. That's tough. He did not go for the Bullet Punch. He thought he did. Talked to him about it. Yeah, he clicked U-turn accidentally, not even thinking that anything was wrong. So we'll move on to the next one. We see Dodge bring in the Ursaluna plus screens. I talked to Dodge about his match a little bit beforehand, and Booster Energy Terra Ground Iron Thorns just like ate Tommy's team alive. It was such a good matchup for it. Really, he just needed like a little bit of chip on some stuff, like 6% on Clodsire, and maybe just like a little bit of chip on Slowking. I can't remember if he was running like Thunder Punch or not, but yeah, that like those were the only things that were like really eaten from Tommy's end. So he just needed to get a little bit of chip down, and that's what Ursaluna's for. You just get screens up, go into Ursaluna, and just start wrecking stuff. Tommy does not have a ghost type at the moment, so just super free Facade, and that did 96%. That's how much a Booster Energy Terra Ground Earthquake was going to do. That bulk up right there was actually so sick. I completely didn't even think of that fact. Like, I was like, all right, you just claim your Clodsire kill and you play the end game with Iron Thorns. But getting the bulk up here allowed him to just completely blow up everything on the team. Yeah, Noivern gone. Just gooped. I talked to Dodge about Terra options on Tommy's end, and being like a Ursaluna player myself over in the Boomer League, Terra Ghost, Terra Flying, Terra Steel are like the 3 most common Terra types from the opposing Terra captains, because they just, at the right time, they can just wall Ursaluna, especially like a Terra Flying, where you just whiff on like a Headlong Rush and then you die. But same with like the idea with Terra Ghost, where you whiff on a Facade. Since Dodge got that bulk up, he doesn't even care what this Terra is into. Like, it's unlikely it would be Terra Flying Terracross, because it's not weak to ground already. So it's probably going to be Terra Steel or Terra Ghost to resist a Facade, or maybe it's just an offensive Terra type. But either way, at +1, you can just click the ground move into it, and it's going to kill, which is just crazy. That bulk up was so clutch. It also, I think, allowed him to live behind the Reflect with that +1 defense, and he sort of like banded CC from a Heracross as well. Just absolutely wild. So yeah, Ursaluna just keeps going crazy. Power Whip misses, which really blows. Lets Ursaluna get all of its health back. I mean, at the end of the day, like, Ursaluna's probably, I don't know, 65-70% at the end of that turn, even with the Power Whip, because the Reflect was still up. And then he went for Drain Punch and got all the health back. So that's the 4th kill Ursaluna claims. And at this point, this is just how I'm thinking about the game when I was watching it. Lucario wins, right? You have a 16% Clodsire and 100% Iron Valiant that can't Terra, and you see its Booster Energy, so it's not Focus Sash. So you sack your Ursaluna, that's fine. Instead of going Grim, you can just go Lucario and end this game in 2 turns. You just go Bullet Punch, and you win. But yeah, he's getting the screens up. He wants to do something else, I guess. I don't really know the thought process on this, because Lucario just won at that point. But yeah, gets the light screen, Moonblast, easy. And it lives on 1%. That's crazy. Yeah, Dodge, I mean, like, since it lived on 1, it's fine. But yeah, Dodge could have gotten extra differential had that Frostlass gone down, and instead he just went into Lucario originally. Could have ended the game like 5 turns earlier. But yeah, GG's. Dodge played that better than I've ever played Ursaluna, so cannot complain about that. Kind of taking some notes for my Boomer League playoff game. All right, Cordel and Graeme got to watch this live while we were off my phone while we were watching the VGC streams. Yeah, Nasty Plot Lando just going crazy. I don't know. I get the switch out predicting like a Sludge Bomb into this, and then plus you get the Vessel of Ruin lowering the special attack. But if you're not running Whirlwind, which let me see if he was. I didn't agree with the Throat Chop where I'm at. Okay, well, he didn't really have anything else to do. It was max Spadef, and he didn't actually have Whirlwind, so okay. Alright, I get that. Alright, that makes sense. But yeah, that's just a dead Ting Lu. That also means Golden Go looks really good. And actually Typhlosion too. So Dragon Pull comes in. and Graeme sacks Landorus here, I think it would have just been super safe to go Diancie. Even if he goes for like a Specs Hydro Pump, like you're fine because that's pretty much the only thing killing you. And then you can just go into Veluza afterwards and set up in its face. I would have kept Landorus around, especially for Goodra, because there's not a whole lot on Graeme's side that can break Goodra. So Graeme goes into Scarf Cleavor here and does 45% with X-Scissor. That's really impressive. Let's see. Oh yeah, Wishing back up. Screamtail plus Goodra is just such a crazy core. Like, they just support each other so well, especially Screamtail Wish passing back into Goodra that doesn't have any sort of recovery. But yeah, free Goodra switch. Trying to remember what Ty and I were talking about during this play. I think going Golden Go was the move. And let's see, was he... He was Choice Scarf Golden Go. Okay, he didn't really have anything to hit Goodra then. Never mind. I was thinking if it was like a Nasty Ply Golden Go, you could kind of like set up on Goodra a little bit, but... And then the raw Aqua Cutter into the Goodra was kind of crazy, but it worked out. This is actually like super risky for Cordel to stay in. I feel like you got the Reflect up, you just go into Goodra, because Aqua Cutter has a high crit chance, and yeah, that, I mean, like that goes through the screens obviously. What Graeme, hopefully you're listening to this, I'll message you separately too, but Veluza with Sharpness is where it gets most of its power. Mold Breaker is still pretty cool, but do you need it? I'm trying to think for anything on Cordel's team. I guess if you're worried about a Zapdos static para, that's... But does Mold Breaker prevent static? It probably does, but either way, I still would have just went with Sharpness on it. Sharpness plus Life Orb probably just kills Screamtail. I mean, like, that thing hits so crazy hard. Mold Breaker just, it doesn't have the same sort of damage output from like a setup sweeper that you would really want. So definitely, yeah, look at Sharpness in the future for sure. Big T-Wave out of Golden Go, and it's Choice Scarf, so he's got to get out of there. Makes a good switch over to a fire type on that. Yeah, so this is Blaze Typhlosion, right? So Blaze activates when you're at 1/3 or less health. But Typhlosion has a move that is Hex, but like a little bit stronger. And since Goodra's already statused, going for Infernal Parade. Just going for Infernal Parade, since it's also a neutral move, but it does more damage, definitely would have been the move on that turn. Yeah, Goodra just hitting so hard. 80% with Flamethrower. Yeah, he's just trying to get chip here. I mean, it's just like you can't really break it. So there's the Infernal Parade and does 23%. Flamethrower earlier did 20, so it wasn't like it was a ton of damage difference, but still, might as well have gone for that. We see Terra Rock Typhlosion. I like it for potential Pyro Balls. And here comes the Scarfed Stone Axe Cleavor. If I'm Cordel, I just go into Primeape, I think. That way I don't risk losing Screamtail here. But Stone Axe misses, and he gets the Reflect up. That's basically GG. I mean, so like without the Reflect, it does 36%. Maybe that was a low roll, and maybe Screamtail dies. I mean, either way, you're in the same position where you just don't have screens up, but, you know, save a little bit of differential if you go into Primeape and kind of take care of it. But, yeah, maybe you don't know it's Scarfed at this point. I can't remember. But, yeah, 20%. So, yeah, that 18 was low. That because he got 20% right there, it could have just killed Screamtail with that Stone Axe before the Reflect even came up. So... could have just, you know, thrown some differential right there. But, I think this is just... Another reflect, yep. And a wish. And then crit, I think? Yeah. Nice. But at the end of the day, see, a crit only does 36%, right? So, like, you were totally fine without the reflect because it only did 36, anyway, with a crit, which doesn't even care about the reflect. So, yeah, Cleaver kind of put in some work there and brought the differential back down, but that was a really good game. I think both played well. I think the Lander's sack was really, like, the trouble because Gudra just completely ate his team alive, and you needed something that could pressure it out. And everything on Cordel's team was touching the ground, and he doesn't have a single ground resist. So just... that's something you have to identify in team preview, right? You go, okay, what are my big hitters, and then what like can he do to stop them? Cordel did not have an answer other than maybe Ting Lu for Landorus, and you got rid of that in turn 3. So yeah, Landorus should have just been able to come in, get a force a switch out or get a kill on some of his fat shit, and then switch out to one of your pivots on something faster, and then come back in with something that checks it. So yeah, I think that's how I probably would have ended up playing that. Either way, good game. All right, Ian Burg. Oh, this game gave me a lot of mental problems on both ends. I know Berg's hard on himself about how he played this, but E, I got some thoughts for you too. All right, so E is running a Toxapex that is like mono poison plus recover. Yeah, it's poison jab, recover, toxic spikes, and baneful bunker. Has no ability to hit Corviknight at all. So, freest defog ever. Boom. All right. Dragon Dance, Dragonite. Okay, go for the Brave Bird. You break the multi-scale. You see you did 16%. So even without multi-scale, which is only active when you're at 100% health, you'll be doing 32% on average based on that roll. So you're not going to 1v1 this with that having a Thunder Punch. E should have also realized, hey, Brave Bird's only doing 16% without multi-scale. He got a bigger roll with the 36 there. He's running Roost on this. I can just keep dancing in this thing's face. I'm going to be totally fine. There was no reason for him to go for the T-Punch that early. If E just went for Dragon Dance there, he's at 48% health. And then next turn you're at ×2/2. You get the Roost up. You're just eating Brave Birds, whatever. Or when he roosts, you can just go for another Dragon Dance. But E is just adamant about getting rid of Corviknight. Dragonite could have won right there. It came in on turn 4. At no point should Dragonite have left the field, is kind of where I'm at with this. Also, the set of Extreme Speed, Thunder Punch, Roost, and Dragon Dance, I'm curious as to what the Extreme Speed was for. Like, I don't think you needed it, because you can just Dragon Dance on Corviknight all day and have absolutely no issues. Yeah, like just running Dragon Claw with Thunder Punch is totally fine, because his 2 fairies, Mimikyu and Azumarill, don't want to eat Thunder Punches. Like, at, I don't know, ×2, ×3, however much you can get up in front of Corviknight, Thunder Punch is going to kill Mimikyu after you break the disguise. Plus, Extreme Speed doesn't even hit that. So yeah, I don't know what the Extreme Speed was for. Maybe there's something I'm not thinking of, but maybe it was for Toxtricity and Rotom, but might as well just run Dragon Claw. That would have killed. Because Toxtricity at 24%. Yeah, that would have done 75 and that's only at ×1. Okay, so once again, going for the T-Punches. E, just Dragon Dance. You were at 100% HP too. Just Dragon Dance. You don't have to get rid of it. You eventually will. If you're at ×6, or, +6 attack, you don't have to do all that. So yeah, and then Burg switches here to Rotom, finally. Alright, good. Corviknight clearly was not the answer, and it was very risky keeping Corviknight in that whole time. Thankfully it didn't bite you in the butt, because E wasn't Dragon Dancing for whatever reason. But you go into Rotom, and your Rotom has Will-O-Wisp. Your Rotom has Will-O-Wisp. And Will-O-Wisp will always break the multi-scale at the end of the turn. But you went for the T-Bolt. This game was painful, man. Alright, now Dragon Knight's Dragon Dancing. And then it switches out. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. Alright, now Garchomp's a problem. This is going to 2-hit KO Great Tusk. It's very physically defensive as well. Like 120 some plus max HP. So yeah, clean kill on Tusk. Ninja. Yep, get rid of the T-spikes on the sack. Yeah, I think Tuxter C-sack at that point was okay because you still have Rotom alive. Plus like Freeze Dry, Cryogonal. Yep, easy Toxapex on a Azumarill every time. And now you just go Corviknight. Because Toxapex doesn't have Scald anymore. It doesn't have any ability to poison Corviknight. You go Corviknight, you Roost, now you have a D-Knight check again. Okay, here we go. Yeah, nothing. So this should be a pretty free Roost. And then Dirge comes in, alright. Corviknight getting healthy again. This game could have been over, like, by this turn easily. Maybe 10 turns earlier if Dragonite just stayed in and kept Dragon Dancing on it, but I digress. Right. Playing that Regenerator game, slowly chipping down Azu. Right. Should have just been a defog there. You're not doing a whole lot of damage to Toxapex, so might as well get rid of the T-spikes. Because now Azu is going to take it. This is no longer going to be a reliable check. Did block the Will-O-Wisp with the poison, which is funny. It's pretty funny, actually. But burned Azu is only doing 8 to Tox. Not burned is only doing 16. Like, alright, Dragonite finally comes back in. Have we learned our lesson? No, we have not. Ah! Killing me. No, you don't have to do this. Oh my lord. Okay. Let's try it again. There we are. I don't know why Burg went for the body press there. Because he was so healthy, he definitely wasn't going for the Roost. All right, now we're boosting. Didn't have to call that. You have a Rotom. You still have a Rotom. The defog is just wasting turns, but he's not capitalizing still. Like, what is stopping you from getting +6? Okay. There's the D-Dance. Now, okay, this is the second time Rotom has been in the game. And this is the second time you've gone for T-Bolt without going for Will-O-Wisp. I don't know if you win the game still, if you go for Will-O-Wisp, but it at least makes it so you don't get swept. You know, Azu can come in, multi-scale's always broken, so you can just go for the Ice Spin or force it out. Maybe he comes back in and gets back into that position, but yeah. Yeah, this game hurt me. This game hurt me on many levels. GG though. I mean, it was a chess match. It was just, I mean, there was no reason for E to not D-Dance in front of Corviknight continuously, and then Burg just had to Will-O-Wisp it at some point. At any point, just get a Will-O-Wisp onto it. I don't know who wins at that point. Yeah, the game just looks totally different, but what I can tell you was that was painful. And that is how we'll end week 1. So yeah, catch you guys in the Discord, and let's get those matches for week 2 going. Peace.